tonight, one of the discussions we're going to be having is about payment. And I'm delighted to have the founder and CEO of BennyPay, Mr. Sid Madavapeddi. Please join me on the stage so we can have a chat about payment.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm going to be selfish and sit on the sofa.
No, it's absolutely fine. You're the man. Can
everyone hear us? Hello?
Yes.
I think we're having a issue. Mic number.
4. I think my voice is loud enough that I don't need mic as switchboard. At the back, can you hear me without that? That's brilliant, man. That's
Hello,
awesome.
can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Sid, good to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Nice audience to have as well.
Excellent. For the benefit of our audience, can you please tell us who you are?
Oh, sure. My name is Sid Madavapeddi. I have been in banking industry for the last 21 or 22 years, all along in corporate banking, payments and cash management. Worked with pretty much all the global banks based in the UK. I worked in management consulting as well, but at the end I always used to associate with banking itself. So all in all, don't know anything else other than banking. That's how I claim myself to be. I am married to wonderful women and have 2 children, live in just north of London. Yeah, that's me. And I started BennyPay, more than 2 years ago in the midst of COVID, after leaving HSBC. Yeah, it's a nice time to start. But I have been on a hell of a journey, which I would like to share with you, and would like to have feedback as well as get an opportunity. Thank you.
So you have a good life. You had a good life in banking, and now you transition into being an entrepreneurship.
Sure.
This is the hard life.
I don't know how many bankers are there. If I say that, it's a great life, they'll come and hit me on the way. So please excuse me if I say that. It's not a bad life. You're absolutely right.
What motivated you to transition into?
Sure. So that's a great question. As I said, always worked for somebody, if I put it that way, in a crude way probably. But I always had this, as we call it, entrepreneurial spirit. I did start something 8 years ago in a healthcare sector. Pretty well, it went off very well, to be honest. Even one of the partners is still taking care of it. It's just that I distanced it from myself. And then have been dabbling in property business. Many of you may be doing that. But I just wanted to start something which I can run myself, and where any change, any decision which I make will have a material impact on or material outcome of that. And that's where I wanted to start it. And trust me, it is not easy, it is risky. Being an entrepreneur is always a pain, no doubt about that, but particularly at the beginning where I am at the moment. I do play multiple roles in a single day. From anywhere from an administrator to the product strategizer. So it's a great painful journey. But at the end of the day, when you see that whatever the decision you made has a material outcome of it, and when you look at that, you feel really satisfied of it. That's what it motivates you. And I'm sure when we are working in our own organizations, you do have it, but you are not the only decision maker there. You are not the father of the outcome for everything which is happening there. There are a lot of dynamics happening, but in an entrepreneurial journey, right? In your own company, the buck stops at you, if I put it that way, right? And that is real fun to have it. I'm hoping that we will have whatever which we do will have a material impact, and something positive happens at the end of whatever the journey which we are taking. And that's what keeps us going.
So what sort of business is BennyPay involved in, and what sort of clients are you attracting?
Oh, sure. Yeah. For the sake of, I'll take probably cheap marketing, apologies for that, but I don't want to lose that opportunity. So for those who don't know about BennyPay, BennyPay is in the area of payments and cash management in a very highest level, but we do it with a difference. I could say this multiple ways, but we make payments using contact details. This is for the businesses. Suppose if any business want to make a payment, let's take an example, right? CFT, the board is all over the place. I'm taking your example, apologies, whoever it is. If they have to make a payment to somebody, typically you take their bank account details or something which and then you make the payment. In this process, what you are doing is you are capturing the data of that particular individual. And you are also spending some operational effort in, in capturing those details. We want to avoid that. What we effectively do is, hey, CFT, just tell the individual that BennyPay will contact you and make the payment. Right? So we are avoiding you that entire operational process and of the data capture. And in turn, we engage the gentleman, whoever it is, we authenticate them, and then we make the payment. We make the payments to 190 countries in 100 plus currencies, and then we make the payments to bank accounts, to the debit cards, and to the wallets, and to multiple other destinations which we could. So that's our core service, and we also do the collections. You might have heard of request to pay. You would hear quite a lot in the next 6 months, given that utility bills have been going up. Essentially, right, it is a pay by link, if I may say that. What is a utility company? I don't know. Say British Gas sends a request to you, say that, hey, Mister, you owe us £5,000. These days that is pretty normal. Earlier it used to be 500, but now 5,000 is pretty normal, right? So, and then on the back of that you make the payment. Yeah, that is in its crudest sense called request to pay. They are requesting you to pay. We are extending it a little bit to say that, hey, when they send that link, British Gas sends 5,000, and you have an utter shock of it, and you say that, hey, what is it that you are claiming for? And they send you an invoice or the details of it. They're like, what is happening here? We have built a kind of a secure communication between the person who is demanding the money and those who are paying. This is called request to pay. So we built this as well. So it's a kind of a single stop service for payments and collections. That's what BennyPay does it.
Talking about finally. So talking about data, you mentioned data, obviously, so how is it regarding data? In the 2020 report from the Open Banking, there's growing sort of appetite for embedded finance. Obviously, that's a question for data, but mentioning data, I want to bring your attention to that. The report says that there's a lot of growth in terms of an appetite for open banking, for embedded finance. But almost 60% of transaction was through data, and 30% was basically cash. So it means that data, do you think this is the future of transaction, business, where innovation is going to happen?
100% agree with that. So we also strongly believe that as individuals, all of us would like to have control on our own data, right? So we share our data with so many companies out there without having any control on it. You share your bank account details, you share your personal data, but extremely rarely that you have a control on the data which you are given. Hey, I don't want you to share the data for more than one purpose. Right? I want you to delete the data in 2 months. We don't have that luxury of telling the companies who are taking the data. That's where we strongly feel that the data is going to be key, even for the payments. That's where we say that for the businesses, there are a lot of banks and fintechs which offer the payments, but we are going a step ahead and saying that we are helping the businesses on their operational processes, on their data management as well, and with the view that that is going to be key to the entire success of any kind of businesses. And we asked a tricky question on the embedded finance. For those uninitiated, as we call it, you come across the words like banking as a service, BaaS, embedded finance or embedded banking, and contextual banking. You keep hearing these, in an interchangeable way, but they are different.
It's a lot confusing because a lot of people don't understand what embedded finance is.
Sure.
And obviously customers don't know what embedded finance is. So you might explain it into and then go into the context of what you provide in embedded finance.
I definitely don't claim to be the master of it, but I'll share whatever I know it. Embedded finance is nothing but you are embedding banking or embedding finance. You are embedding your banking services or financial services in a non-financial company. Let's take an example, right? So utility company, which keeps claiming us huge amount of bill, sends us that separate request. They say that, hey, you owe us £5,000. And then they tell you, go out and send us via bank account or by card or anything. You have two separate journeys altogether. In the case of embedded banking, what happens is, as a finance entity, as a licensed entity, as a bank or anybody for that matter, we embed our journey into it. So they send a bill, you say that I want to pay now. Immediately they will show you the bank account details or card from where you pay, and then that takes you to your bank account if it is bank, or to the card if it is a card journey, and then you make the payment, and then they show you the bill also on the confirmation of it. one single journey, right? From the user perspective, it is a transparent. I gave you a pretty nascent example here, but essentially a bank embedding its journey of the products into the businesses, which is a non-banking entity. That is in a crude way in embedded banking. A contextual banking is also a nicer way of saying that, hey, in that context, if you fly anywhere, which has happened in the last 3 months ago or 4 months ago, where if you fly by airline, you might have lost your baggage in Heathrow, and they have to compensate you for something, which is they send you a check or cash later. Instead, hey, you know what? The moment you make a complaint, how nice it would be, immediately it pops up that we accept it, and can you please tell me where you want to get paid, right? And immediately you get a confirmation of that payment. It would be such a nice journey, right? Single one. That is a contextual banking of it. It is within that context of losing my luggage, I'm getting my banking experience as well. To contrary to that is a banking as a service. Banking as a service is not a banking entities like any bank for that matter, share their products to the other banking entities. Let's say that, or even any non-banking entities. Let's say that, I should not say my employer, so HSBC, for example, ex-employer, HSBC, who has started recently in a banking as a service, would like to offer that to the neo banks or small banks so that they can in turn offer their products, a white label products. So that is completely different. Yeah, embedded banking is you are embedding your journey into it. In our BennyPay, we really pride ourselves. So our APIs can be embedded into this entire airline journey, for example, and immediately you are not sharing your details with your airline, but in that journey you are sharing your bank account details with BennyPay, which you can delete and manage anywhere, right? So that is one single journey. We embed our journey into somebody else.
I know KFC. Can I order KFC through my bank account?
Very good point. So two things I would say that you don't need to register with us. You just claim the payment without even registering with us. That's the one thing. And second important thing, right? Even when you register with us, you are in control of your data as a payee. That's what the businesses like us, in the sense that the payee can come and delete the data, modify the data as and when they want it. It's pretty transparent to them, right? And we would not share their data with anybody else as well. So that is the promise which we make. And we claim ourselves, given that our technology is so strong, we claim that ours is bank-grade security. So your data is pretty secure with us. If that makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. Talking about competition, obviously, I like to quote one of the famous American entrepreneur, Peter Thiel, I think. I'm sure you have competitors, or you don't do competition, because I think based on this quotation, Peter Thiel says, competition is for losers. Do you agree? Do you think you have competitors, or you prefer collaboration? What's your company sort of looking forward to in terms of your journey and product you provide in terms of your proposition with others?
Sure. And for all of us who are working in finance industry, right, you would have seen a huge amount of either acquisitions, collaborations, or the words like BaaS and embedded banking are coming in that context as well. Collaboration is going to be key. It is pretty sensible, or I'm sure all of entrepreneurs also agree with that. You should play to your strengths. That's what we say, right? And say, for example, if a bank has established itself as a secure brand, right, and if they can have the captive customers as businesses, you play to that. And if you're not able to build good technology, any specific products if you're leveraging the technology, go and collaborate with somebody else, right? Collaboration is going to be key for everybody, and that's what actually in our own pitch to the potential investors, that's what we keep saying. We don't want to spend a huge amount on the marketing, for example, right? We would like to partner with X number of entities, X types of entities. Undoubtedly, collaboration is going to be key. Having said that, competition is bound to be there, right? And we need to be 10 steps ahead of the competition. We would be. Luckily, as some of you know, payments industry is one of the vast industries. It is $1.9 trillion of revenue every year, recurring revenue. It's a massive market for everybody. But within the business payments, it is still a nascent stage for the fintechs. Banks have been having the luxury of that captive market for all along, and we would like to be there. And it is still a massive market. And then we build our solutions, which in such a way that they are flexible enough and easier enough and simpler enough for our customers to consume in a quicker way. And we hope, and we are pretty strongly believe that we are a few steps ahead, and we would like to outsmart the competitors there. There are large competitors who have established, for over a period of time. But some of was asking, right? You would have seen, hey, is Apple Pay going to eat everybody's business? That is a pretty strong and standard one. Let me tell you what, even then there are hundreds of some smart innovators and smart people who have come up with multiple solutions, and that is going to be the case even X number of years going ahead. So if, I don't know how many of you have been old enough like me, but the digitization of payments has started a while ago, right? It started with cards and then ATMs and then online banking, embedded banking, wallets, etc. But the volume of payments have gone by hundreds of times. You would have seen, if anybody goes and just look at the Bank of England payment statistics, it is always, it's like this, an exponentially higher one. Which means that there is enough space for everybody, and as the market is increasing, all of us, whoever is providing the service, has to be really smart enough to provide some innovative solutions to the help, to support those consumers or businesses. Large players like Amazon or Google, I'm just taking their names, not for any sake, they haven't been able to establish so far. So there is always scope for anybody who is innovative, smart enough to start a new company, even within the space of payments.
So they're not a threat to your business proposition in terms of getting into payment for the future. Like Amazon, banks, these are friends or foe?
Well, that could be either ways. We would love, I know for sure Amazon needs a solution which is absolutely what BennyPay offers at the moment for their sellers, right? We would love to be partnering with them. And at the same time, we would like to compete with them also in those markets where they have the collection service like Amazon Pay, where we can also equally offer an amazingly user-friendly competing collection service as well. Yeah.
Right. Just talk about, so you got approval from FCA, and you have a license to operate.
Yep, we do.
Do you mind sharing briefly in terms of your joining process with the FCA in acquiring a license?
Our license is, we wanted to have our own license from FCA, but we were at pretty early stage, that is one. And thanks to COVID, the application process has become pretty elongated with FCA. So what we made a shortcut. We become a sub-partner for our payment processor. So we haven't taken the full license yet, but we have the license which enables us to make the equally, to the payments as well as collections for the businesses. But we are still a agent service or whatever you call it for our payment processor. But it is taking time for those who are aspiring to take license from FCA. It's really taking time, so be aware of it.
Do you think regulation should change? FCA should do something about changing regulation, watering down, or I'm sure there's going to be a discussion on this later on crypto. So we're not getting too much detail into that, but obviously I want to put you on the spot because I think FCA might be watching to see whether BennyPay is.
I hope we don't have FCA colleagues here, but regulation is bound to come and bound to be widening it. And for the last couple of years, you might have seen some fintech companies have made some mistakes, and regulators have been really scooping on them. So we would definitely expect tightening of the regulation. But I really hope, my only hope is FCA will continue to see banks, payment companies, and crypto companies, all those Web3 companies, with separate lens.
Yeah, the reason I ask is how innovative companies like your companies, BennyPay, startups, they innovate around regulations. But if you look at some of the legacy banks, for example, or just all institutions, they still get stuck because of regulation.
Yeah.
So they don't advance, fearing that the regulators will be peering down on their neck. But startups are very good in terms of navigating regulation.
Yeah.
How do you see that impacting your business later?
So one thing is that technology is key to that. And if you have seen the KYC, KYB or any onboarding by any of the large banks, it takes months or weeks or months is the minimum you can expect. I think, for example, that is a great starting point for us, technology companies. We would like to cut short that entire journey to the shortest minimum possible without even violating any of the regulations out there, just because we are leveraging the underlying technology, not because we are shortcutting the regulations. And that we will continue to the payment processing also. Doesn't mean that if in the name of AML, if you, by God's grace, if your payment gets stuck in any of the AML process of a bank, it takes at least 2 working days for you to even get a proper response from them. It doesn't need to be if you leverage the technology properly. Right? Even for all the startups, I'm telling you, right? If you are getting any funding also by any chance, right? If that goes into the AML checks within the banks, it takes minimum 2 to 3 working days just to get a response from them. Does it really need to be? It doesn't need to be, right? That's where we want to really improve our, leverage our technology. How do we improvise that entire processing so that we can smoothen the entire journey for the customers without again, violating or whatever, you're not diluting the regulations out there. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I have just a few more questions before wrap up. I think looking at some of the reports around recently by Innovate Finance, it looks like investors' appetite for investment into fintech in the UK specifically has not dimmed. Because I think if you look at this year compared to last year, there's a growth of 24% investment on fintech businesses. And obviously this year, quoting the numbers, this year fintech received $9.1 billion investment from investors compared to $7.3 billion last year. So which means there's still an appetite, even in the current climate of things. Is BennyPay attracting attention?
We made the market is still good, 100% sure about that, because given the amount of interest which we and a lot of startups do receive, but we made a conscious decision of continue bootstrapping ourselves and build up to a scale before we go out and seek any investment. It is nothing else because we as investors, founders, has committed ourselves into it. And we are fairly confident that we'll be able to navigate for the next 1 or 2 years before we really go out and do it. But doesn't mean that if there is a strong interest, doesn't mean that we will not start having that interaction. But not at this point of time. We are not actively searching for it. If I may put it that way. Right? We are actively looking for the customers. That is for sure. That's where we want to build the business model and the business and all the operational sales process around it, but not the investment.
What about crypto? Are you thinking about doing crypto later, or this is the market that you want to stay away from?
I know this topic is Metaverse, and I'm sure there are a lot of crypto enthusiasts. I don't want to...
a lot of crypto experts, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not a master of an expert also, as I claim. But what we haven't seen is a strong need or business case of crypto payments within the business world. Correct me if I'm wrong, happy to be corrected. But we haven't seen where businesses are saying that, hey, we need crypto payments in our day-to-day journey, in our day-to-day operations. No, we haven't seen it. And even from our consumer perspective, we haven't seen that. Doesn't mean that there's no need for it, but we are not there yet. Probably that may be the future. But we haven't seen it yet. So BennyPay hasn't entered into it. But having said that, as we said that, right, we make payments to bank accounts, debit cards, and as well as to the mobile wallets. In future, we will be more than happy to expand that bouquet of services into crypto payments as well. So that becomes fiat to crypto world. We would be more than happy to have that, but none of our customers has asked for it yet. As and when that happens, we definitely would be doing that. That's our technology enables that way.
Thank you very much. I have just a few quick fire questions before we go. So this is sort of quick fire.
Sure.
Just quick answers. So, who do you admire in business? Do you have a hero, or do you have someone you admire in business?
Okay, House of Tatas, the one, they really, do this their social commitments without diluting the the investors' interests. House of Tatas is one of where we would like to be there as well.
And describe the leadership style briefly.
Oh, my leadership style, you said. All right, okay. I strongly, lessons learned from a previous experience is that you need to be really inclusive and collaborative with your colleagues, right? So in our company, one rule everybody has to follow is that all of us are equal, and everybody should have an opinion on whatever we are doing as a business. Just because everybody does different roles, you are a developer probably, that doesn't mean that when you don't have an opinion on the way which we run the business. Right? So that is very important part of it. And it has to be inclusive, it has to be collaborative, everybody has to be equal in any company for that matter. And we really practice that.
What do you see the future of payment looking like?
In the UK?
In the UK?
In general. So future of payments is going to be right. It is going to be real time for sure. It is going to be data rich, whatever we do it, and it is going to be all the more simplistic. Probably by sitting there, the gentleman will, with a nod or with a word, would be making a payment or claiming a payment in future. That's how I see that. And that has to be that simplistic, and that's the responsibility of all of us to make it happen.
What's your favorite time of the day?
Oh, I'm a night owl. For me, after dinner, I really look like as if I just woken up, and I would be fresh with all the ideas and all the work. So you would be seeing me working at 12 o'clock in the night, as if I had just woken up.
Business or leisure?
Oh, I really wish to say that it is leisure, but I'm not in that place. I'm not having that luxury. It is all about business these days. I know it is shame, but that's what it is.
Favorite sport?
Pardon?
Your favorite sport?
Favorite sport? Oh, I love Paris for whatever the reasons. I don't know why in their times, but I love the city. It has that vibe of culture, and still it's modern. And they are one of the few people who really, amalgamate the history of the past with the future. So I love them.
Cooking or takeaway?
I hate cooking, but I love only to eat the cooked food. I don't like takeaways. It's not that healthy, probably. Not being a preacher, but yeah. No, not to the takeaways. Not frequently.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sid Madavapeddi.
Thank you all. Thank you for being a great patient audience for me. Really wish to speak to you after the meeting.
Yes, please. You can catch up with Sid after the event.